Alright, so now I'm going to talk about skill choices. I'm not going to just do archers, I'm going to try and do all three. But preface this, I've played a knight, I've played an archer, and play an archer at the moment. I know more about those two than the third one, mage. But we'll do our best. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a sort of a general idea of sort of skills you should go for to get you going. Alright, so let's kick it off with archers. So as you can see, this is my general PvP and world boss build for skills. And what you need to think about, and with any of these builds, as far as an archer goes, is make sure you max out some of these really nice passive skills. They're probably what give you the biggest boost out of everything. They're really obvious, they look great. Physical attack boost to 15%, fantastic. Extra rage after crit, brilliant. 20% more HP and crit rate, yeah, pretty damn good. Now the rest of the talents here are a bit more niche in some senses and a bit more situational. If you're going to do one build for archers and you don't have the dual skills switch thingamajiggy here, which I do have, this is what you should do. Okay, and this is for, I'm at level 51 now, but as you're leveling up, focus firstly on getting these passives done. Then you want your sniper and your lunatic fire as high as you can get it. Then you probably want to focus on your arrow strike first. This is what you most often use, is your arrow strike as well. So getting that as high level as possible is great. Some general tips for archers is, if you're not doing a catacombs build, don't go after any of the stuff here, down here. No. Where some of the debate comes with is, for example, some people like bloodthirsty, some people like getting battle prowess. Battle prowess, in my opinion, is a very good talent, but it's a bit niche in some senses. For example, in PvP battles, for arena example, you literally survive like 3 rounds sometimes, so you're not even going to have a time to get the stacks up. It's very, very good PvE, very, very good catacombs, pretty good world boss, but then you only get 5 turns, although you will have it maxed by about halfway through. So for me personally, I prefer to max out bloodthirsty over getting battle prowess. I think this gives you a lot more utility. I think it's good, it gives you some PvE sort of survivability, Spire for example, and multiplayer dungeons. But it's really, really useful in battlegrounds, because archers have no way to heal without runes. So what this lets you do is, if you go find someone already squishy on a battleground who looks pretty dodgy, you open up with your lunatic fire usually, and then you can go, I have enough extra rage usually after that to go through a bloodthirsty, and that lets me heal back up on some nice softy. It's not going to do any damage to me, so that I don't have to waste the weird point system that you have in battlegrounds on healing yourself. And when this gets later on up to like Crusader level, where you die, you lose honor, that becomes even more useful. If you wanted to do just a pure world boss point of view, and you don't want to do PvP, which I don't suggest, because arena is a great way to get items and insignia, but if you're going to do that, what you'd want to do is you focus on arrow strike, multi-shot, maximum sniper, these 3, Eye of the Eagle, and battle prowess as well. That would create the most possible damage you could do to a world boss, if that's all that you're after. So just in summary, this is what you want to do if you want a nice sort of cookie cutter build that gives you a lot of utility. Do world boss, do PvP, do PvE with this. That's what I'd recommend. If you've got dual skills as an archer, I also recommend this build as well. Now this is for catacombs. What you see differently is I've lost sniper, I've lost lunatic fire, because I don't use it in catacombs. It's usually one boss, you don't need it. I've still got max bloodthirsty, really good. But what I've switched in is poison arrow, deep freeze, and battle prowess. And deep freeze, fantastic skill for catacombs. In my other video on catacombs, I'll show you in action and what it does. But essentially, if you're doing catacombs and you've got this, use deep freeze on cooldown. It'll make bosses a lot easier to do. Alright, so that's Archer Zone for the meantime. And next I'm gonna switch over to some of the others. Was my attempt at a mage, that's not a very good one. Alright, knights. I know a little bit less Knights versus Archers. I'm not currently playing one, but I did play one recently. And Knights, much like Archers, have got some passives here, which are automatic max out as soon as you can get them. Physical boost, combat master, extra rage after each action, really nice, really nice. Divine blessing, brilliant. Probably one of the best passives in the game. Next, when it comes to a knight, you really want your slasher and your ultimate slasher maxed out. After that, priority-wise, you also want your Wartune Shield, which absorbs 20% of damage, and on the third level, the QTE gives an extra 800 damage absorption. Now, this is a really good skill because it's a 20% of max HP, and the damage that's then done to you takes into account your mitigation as well. So if you're really tanky knight and someone's only doing 1000 damage to you per attack, and you've got 20,000 health total, and it's your max HP, it's not your current HP, your shield will go up for 4,000 plus 800, so almost 5,000. It's going to take 5 hits of someone doing 1,000 to you to actually do any damage. At the same time, if you've got this skill, Enhanced Block, if you do any blocks or dodges during that time, you'll be still healing. So really good skill. You also want your Destroyer, Delphic Destroyer, and this is useful for all bosses, and maxed out Whirlwind as well. PvP skill, fantastic, really useful. Then after this, I mean, this is also a level 60 here, I've put this at, so you probably won't be quite having these points. After this, you start getting to make some interesting decisions with your knight. Some people invest into Intercept, which is a purely PvP skill, but is useful to some extent. What it does is it reduces the rage and does some damage. The first level of it only does 400, but the second level is an upgrade up to 1500 and actually does quite a bit of damage. It's debatable how useful it is. I see it a lot in Arena, and what it usually allows you to do is you hit it first, and it will pop this front row person, and it will stop them from probably doing their AoE attack, which is useful, but at the same time you're giving up a turn to do it and 25 rage. So it's debatable whether or not it's better to just try and nuke them with Whirlwind than it would be to intercept them. It really depends on your strat. It's a bit niche. So you could go for 1 point intercept, or you could start thinking about maybe going, say, towards Shadow Thrasher. Shadow Thrasher itself, alright, rage dump, okay, not the greatest skill, but what's really good is it unlocks tenacity, which is a damage decrease, and is amazing, and it's one of the reasons that knights get so strong late in the game. So it's up to your playstyle. What I would recommend 100% of getting is ensuring you got Whirlwind, ensuring you've got these nice passives, a Wartune Shield, and then these two maxed up with the rest of your points as much as you can, and that will do you well for world bosses and everything. One thing I'd avoid is reverse damage, because it's awful. For some reason I see some high level players popping this sometimes, I'm just like, what are you doing? First level of it reflects 200 damage. 200 damage? No, don't bother with it, that's ridiculous. Don't do that. So yes, and then finally I want to talk about some mages. What I've got here handily is Death, our resident mage expert, has sent me some builds, and I believe this first one is a general AoE world boss type damage build. So this is a good general utility build. If you're going to have one build, I think this is the one he was pointing at. So you see two things here. You've got your maxed out first skill and your AoE opener. They're two useful skills, and a lot of your damage is going to come from that. You also got the passives with maxed out with only 1 point in the rage one, I think that gives you more rage. And also the healing passive down here, which are all really good skills. Those three are passive. That one I think gives you more rage per attack. That's attack, 15% more magic attack, and that increases your healing as well. You've got the max level of single person healing, which is a useful skill. But he's also put in the Delphic Thunders for nuking the world boss at the end of your rotation. But he's got the two, I suppose the keys to this is the maxed out Meteor, I've forgotten what the name of this, like Flame Strike or something like that, which is another sort of AoE skill. What he's also given us is here's a more of a PvE catacombs build. So on this side of it, you've got maxed out healing skills. Similar, but you don't have the sort of Delphic Thunders for nuking world bosses. It's not as useful. This is survivability and lasting more and healing. Also, you got down here, you got purification, which is useful for later on in dungeons. You get to some bosses start putting some really nasty debuffs that sort of tick for 5,000 bleed damage every turn, which are nasty. So that's a really, really good skill for survivability for you and your teammates in that sense. But if we go back to this one, this is a more general build. If you don't have Balins for dual skill, this is what you're going to want to look at. Now, of course, with all of these things, this is an MMO and an RPG, and you need to play your character like you want to do it. So I've made some recommendations generally for what a good base skill is, but if there's something you really want to do to play, to enjoy it, then go ahead and do it. Having said that, there's a couple of things, like, for example, having Poison Arrow in your world boss build is an absolute no-no. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Ever. Right, hopefully that was useful. If you guys haven't got any further questions, go ahead, ask in Guild chat, send me a message, leave a comment on here. Alright, thanks.